Welcome to Vega English.
For English speaking and listening practice.
Hey there, English learners. Welcome to Vega English. I'm James, and today we're diving into something that trips up students constantly. We're talking about the most confusing words in English. Now, before we jump in, if you're enjoying this content, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. Give this episode a like and share it with anyone you know who's learning English. Your support helps us reach more learners and keeps this content free for everyone. It really means the world to us. All right, let's get started with some noun pairs that cause endless confusion. First up, floor versus ground. The floor is the flat surface inside a room where you walk. Think about your living room, your bedroom. That's the floor. The ground is the surface of the earth outside. It could be soil, grass, concrete, whatever is beneath your feet when you're outdoors. So floor is generally inside. Ground is generally outside. For example, we sat on the floor in the living room and ate pizza. Compare that to, we sat on the ground under a tree and had a picnic. Now here's where it gets interesting. In British English, we call the level that's even with the earth outside the ground floor. My office is on the ground floor. Notice I said on the ground floor, not in. But in American English, that same level is called the first floor. Also, we do use floor for natural surfaces sometimes, like the forest floor was covered in moss, or the floor of the cave was wet and slippery. Now let's talk about three words that students mix up all the time: travel, journey, and trip. Travel, as a noun, refers to the general activity of going places. People say that travel broadens the mind. It's usually uncountable, so we don't say a travel. You can say travels in plural when talking about various experiences. Eloise was telling me about her travels in Italy. Journey focuses on the act of moving from point A to point B. The journey to Paris will take about 3 hours. It's about the movement itself. A trip is when you go somewhere and return, usually staying for a short time. I've just been on a trip to Rome. You can have a business trip, a day trip, a camping trip. Here's an example with all three. Travel is my passion. I recently went on a trip to Edinburgh, and the train journey from London took 4 hours. See how they work together? Travel is the concept. Trip is the visit. Journey is the movement. Let's move on to opportunity versus possibility. An opportunity is a situation that allows you to do something you want, and it's usually positive. When I was at university, I had the opportunity to spend a semester in Spain. The internship was a wonderful opportunity for me. A possibility is something that might happen or might be true. Have you considered the possibility that it might rain tomorrow? There's a strong possibility that the plan might fail. Here's both words together. There's a possibility that my company will expand next year, and if it does, I might have the opportunity to move abroad. We also use possibility to talk about different options. What kind of food do you want? The possibilities are endless. Now let's tackle two words that confuse people with both their meanings and pronunciations: receipt and recipe. A receipt is proof that you've paid for something. The P is completely silent. Receipt. 2 syllables, stress on the second. Would you like a receipt? I'd like to return this, but I've lost my receipt. Recipe has 3 syllables, and we stress the first one, recipe. It's a list of ingredients and instructions for cooking. Have you got a good recipe for shepherd's pie? I know it's tempting to say receipt, but remember, it's recipe. Here's another pair. History versus story. History is uncountable. It's the study of real events that happened in the past. I'm really interested in the history of France. The invention of electricity was a turning point in human history. Notice we can say history with 2 or 3 syllables. A story is a description of events that can be real or imagined. We tell stories to entertain people. My dad used to tell me bedtime stories about dragons and princesses. Here's both together. I always thought the story of King Arthur was just a myth, but it turns out some parts might actually be rooted in history. Our final noun pair for today is shade versus shadow. Shade is a darker, cooler area where direct sunlight is blocked. The focus is on the area itself. Let's sit in the shade under that tree. I moved my chair into the shade to avoid getting sunburnt. Shade is uncountable. A shadow is a dark shape that appears when something blocks the light. It's the silhouette or outline. Your shadow's so long in the evening light. The tree cast an interesting shadow on the wall behind it. Notice we say cast a shadow. Shadow is countable. So shade is about the cool area. Shadow is about the shape created. Now let's move to some really tricky verbs, starting with get and go. When talking about travel, get focuses on arriving. When I get to Edinburgh, I'll give you a call. This means when I arrive. Could you tell me how to get to Edinburgh Castle? How do I reach it? Go focuses on the journey and movement. I usually go to Edinburgh by train. You'll go past a great coffee shop on your way. But both verbs also mean become or change state, and they work with different adjectives. We use get with light, dark, old, late, ill, sick, tired. In winter in the UK, it gets dark early. I got ill while I was on holiday. We use go with colors and negative changes. As people get older, their hair often goes gray. This meat stinks. It's gone bad. He went bald in his 40s. Next, notice versus realize. Notice is when you see or hear something and become aware of it. I noticed that the leaves had changed color on my morning walk. I saw the difference. Realize is connected to understanding. You make a mental connection. I realized that autumn was on its way. I connected the color change to the change in seasons. Here's both verbs together. I noticed the crack in the vase, but I didn't realize how fragile it was until it broke. We noticed the thunder in the distance and realized we needed to leave the beach. Noticing is about perception. Realizing is about understanding. And there you have it for part 1. We've covered some of the most commonly confused nouns and verbs in English. We talked about floor versus ground, travel versus journey versus trip, opportunity versus possibility, receipt versus recipe, history versus story, shade versus shadow.
We also covered get versus go and notice versus realize. I know this is a lot to absorb, but don't worry. The key is to notice these differences when you encounter them in real life.
In our next episode, we'll continue with more confusing verbs like rob versus steal, win versus beat, and we'll dive into perception verbs like hear versus listen.
Before you go, please hit that subscribe button and give this a like. Share it with your friends who are learning English. Your support helps Vega English grow and motivates us to keep creating free lessons for you.
Drop a comment and let us know which word pair from today's lesson confused you the most. We read every single comment. Thanks so much for listening. Keep learning, keep practicing, and remember, English gets easier with every single lesson.
This is James from Vega English, and I'll see you in the next episode.